It's so nice to meet you, and I've been a fan a long time, and so happy that I didn't even know that uh, my team knew you. I think I knew they worked with you, but I didn't know they were going to be able to connect us. So super excited to talk about you. It feels
Thanks,
like,
man. Thanks for having us.
oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. So
And
today
where are you dialing in from?
I am dialing in from Los Angeles, and you both are in the UK in Bristol, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Correct. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
You got the
Awesome.
weather and the gun crime, and what have we got? Well, we've had some weather recently. It's been very windy. So that's been big news. We like to talk about the weather. We like queuing. We're very British. So if you want 40 minutes on meteorology, then you come to the right DJs.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, super excited to have the Allergies in studio today. DJ Money Shot and Rack Beat. And super excited to talk about your career and your music, and especially your work in relationship with Jalapeno, who's just celebrating their 20th anniversary, which you guys are super included in. So I wanted to start off today and talk about your latest single, Going to the Party, which is an extended mix and it features lyrics born. I wanted to know, how did you come up with the concept and how did you start working on the elements of this type of collaboration together?
Well, I think with this track, it was about finding some dope samples and then thinking who'd be best suited to jump on them. And of course, we've got a kind of massive wish list of people in the lyrics born style. And I mean, he's obviously at the top. We work with Andy Cooper as well. And that kind of, super funky, super laid back, great lyricism, just a match made in heaven. So when you find the samples and you think this could work, you can just hear him on the chorus and on the verses. And then it was just a case of looking for other records that were complementary to kind of weave in and to add an extra hook elements. There's a couple of different records sampled in there, and then just throwing lots of kind of like instrumentation in it to make it more than just 8-bar loops and things. So
yeah, it was obvious with that sample. It was obviously going to be a party record, so we wanted to make sure we had the right hype MC, party MC, and he was just top of the list for one of the guys we wanted to work with. He's got that got that immediate hype to his voice, isn't he? So he was like, yes. And yeah, when he agreed to do it, we're really stoked.
Yeah, all that kind of era of those quantum MCs, his canon, his back catalogue, kind of faultless. If you've got the crates to go back through and listen to some of his great records over the years and some of the people he's worked with, lowly little us, but, all the way to the top to people like DJ Shadow and what have you. So
awesome. And so when you're working on like creating the song and the beat and the music behind it, are you already hearing kind of in your head the voice that you're looking to partner with?
Yeah, we're always sort of talking about that along the way, aren't we? Just ideas will start coming to mind. Normally, like at the point where we're in the studio together working on it, we're starting to chat about stuff, and we're kind of doing that with the new stuff at the moment. It's quite exciting, that stage actually. Just when you're getting excited about it and trying to think what you might want to get involved in it. Normally got quite a big list, and you try a few and you don't get the call back, but then a couple later you get one.
Yeah.
Well, you definitely have to have options. Now, you're both DJs in the UK, and you first bonded over your mutual love of classic hip hop and beats. How did you two actually meet and start working together? And what hip hop music in your crate digging did you bond over?
We both sort of met properly on the festival circuit here in the UK. We were DJing for kind of like a tent that went round to lots of different festivals. It was a really cool tent called Chai Wallers. And we were kind of like the resident DJs there. And we ended up sharing the same car journeys and, drinking beer together and sort of playing all this music together on the journeys up there, and found out that we had similar sort of taste in hip hop and breaks and all that sort of stuff, really. For me, like it was all about, I kind of got into hip hop through my older brother's girlfriend when I was kind of a teenager. She had a really cool CD collection. Remember those CDs? and some tapes as well, actually. She had loads of like Cypress Hill and Tribe Called Quest and De La Soul and all this stuff. And it was the first time my ears had ever heard it. And it was just like, wow, this stuff connects with me. And it always has, really. I think Roy kind of loves all that kind of era as well.
Definitely that golden era. Definitely all the Tribe, all those classic LPs of the 93 to just before the 2000s. And then people who could take the dusty samples and flip them hard. People like Grammatic, we bonded over a lot. That was a lot on the car journeys. Polish producer who's got like banging street beats, taking vintage Shaolin style soul and giving it almost like a drum and bass production punch to it. Absolute club banger. So we're trying to get inspired by those kind of ideas, so you can still have an honor to the past, but make it stand up next to any modern beats as well. So that's something we always trying, some kind of magic form and some wicked alchemy we always try and get right for these tunes.
Excellent. And so to fast forward then to now, what are you vibing and listening to?
Still the same stuff. I don't know. There's some great UK hip hop coming out at the moment. I don't know if you heard of a guy called Loyal Kana, and there's kind of a bit of a jazz movement as well that's happening with that coming from London at the moment. That's really cool. What else you got, Roy? What are you listening to that's new?
There's a rapper called Strategy that's really good. Swindle's killing it as well. There's a guy we work with out Cardiff called Skunkadelic and his band. They're killing it as well with a kind of Afro hip hop mix to it.
We still play 7 inches, so we're still all about trying to find those records that we've always wanted, and playing old stuff when we go to clubs. Really.
Of course, that totally makes sense. So now to talk about your history with Jalapeno, you were snatched up by Jalapeno in 2015, if I'm correct, around that time, and celebrating its 20th anniversary. And I want to know how that kind of connection came together. Now, your music is a mix of funk, soul, disco, hip hop, breakbeats, and all those types of influences. And you're quoted as saying, "We like breaks, funky bass lines, horns and dance floor grooves, and we're inspired by the golden eras of funk, soul, disco, and hip hop. We try to cram all that in 3.5 minutes." So is that accurate? And how did you become to be a part of the Jalapeno family?
Well, it is accurate. I wrote it, so
excellent.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we always try and. It was just talking about the 7-inch culture there, and the kind of small amount of time you get to make your impact. So 3.5 minutes trying to pack that all in there, and something we've done from mixtapes to club DJing to making tunes, trying to just make it power packed. And when we were looking for labels to step to, we give a few demos out. I'm not sure how much faith we had in them, but we got a small number of people we sent them out to, and the most positive response was from Jalapeno, and they are kind of like the UK HQ for that kind of funky style of music out of Brighton. So, the little sand-swept Funketeers down there, and they're a great crew to work with, even from the first, was it an EP? Trying to single.
Yeah, I mean, really, it was a group of singles, I think. I don't know if it was some stuff that we'd already had out on smaller labels and stuff, but it was actually Trevor's idea from the record label to put these out as an album, and it's not even something we thought about, but he sort of saw a vision for it being an album rather than just a little group of singles, and we're like, that sounds dope, let's do it.
Very much the classic DJ's turn producer first album format, which is like just try and get together all the stuff you've put out on these disparate labels and try and make some thematic cohesion to it, which we did with the first album, as we do our thing. 2016, remember those heady days?
Sounds like a long time ago now.
Yeah, I had more hair all over my body. It's like a hearthrug. Robin Williams' arms.
Oh wow that's that's a story for, I guess, a different time. But I'm told that your mission is to reshape funky vintage sounds for the modern dance floor. So how do you do that?
Well, it was, the sort of backstory is that I was a drum and bass DJ and producer first. That's kind of what I got heavily into as a teenager, and I sort of learnt some production techniques through making that stuff that was maybe more modern. And Roy's background was sort of like really, really heavily real head when it came to samples and sort of knowledge and that stuff. So it was about trying to fuse what we had together and trying to make something that was like the stuff we were playing, but just make it fatter and chunkier for a dance, so it could kind of work on a modern dance floor. Really, that was the idea.
Because that phrase was taken from a Mixmag review when we got a single of the month, one of our first tunes, Heartbreaker. So we thought, wow, we'd not really had the gall to try and come up with a phrase like that ourselves, but hearing someone else say it is like, that's not a bad little accolade. And it is about having a respectful knowledge to those golden era sounds and classics and giving a respectful polish to make them work on a modern dance floor, which is it's big and bashy and quite wobbly out there. So you got to make it loud and punchy, haven't you?
For sure. Yeah. And you actually, from my records, had 2 tunes of the month around that time. I also know that you were very well championed by the BBC Six and Craig Charles, who's played some of my music. And I've heard that you sat in as guest DJs on that show as well. So was that something that you were looking to kind of aspire to, or were you just trying to make dope music, essentially?
Yeah, it's like Six Music especially is the kind of station that someone like us would listen to and be into over here in the UK. It's one of the music stations that kind of champions all kinds of different eclectic music. And it was always kind of a vision to try and get in there really and try and get our music across there, because we thought that'd be the best place for it. And it kind of has been really. Craig's been a huge supporter, just, playing our music week in, week out. And we've had like album of the day and stuff like that. So it's been played across quite a lot of the shows, and we've picked up other, the other DJs have been playing us as well, like Lauren Verne and lots of cool cats.
Chris
really.
Hawkins.
So yeah, it's been, I don't think we'd be still doing it without, that kind of support at Six really. Almost definitely not.
And it's not like we make the music to try and get on there, because anytime you try and make something you think is going to be popular, it's probably just a worse version of what you do. So the stuff we've made that is perhaps a little different or a little more daring, that's the stuff that's really caught people's attention. Starting with a tune like Rock, which in the field of hip hop, you don't really make 144 BPM fast rap, really. No one else is doing it. So something like that was killer, and that got a lot of support. And then with a tune called Felony, which is a kind of melancholic, funky breaks thing. It's a little emotional, and it's not the kind of thing you think would kill it on a dance floor or pick so many ears up, but it really resonated with people. So yeah, I think doing your own thing, keeping it dope is the mantra really. Yeah.
As you should. And it comes out in the music too. Now, 2 heads are better than 1 in this situation. And there's no ego, which is amazing. So is DJ culture, from my understanding, is it usually solo in a way, and then it's very rare for people to come together like this, or is it actually more common than people would think?
I think DJs it's a solo pursuit, isn't it? You can have a classic bedroom DJ, but DJs are also producers, and you take on the mantle of being in a group. And then especially in drum and bass and things like that, often people go out together, or in hip hop, people like the Next Men or the Creators used to do it, or, Dynamo Productions. So you're a double-headed beast. That's often you might be 2 solo DJs that have come together like we have. Like a lot of people have to kind of combine your strengths and have that funky yin and yang. And then you go out together. I mean, I DJ'd, as Adam did, a long time on our own, and I've done it with other people as well, but it kind of gets boring, and it's nice to share the journey with someone.
It's also like the Allergies are so much bigger than that now as well, because we've got a band side to it. So there's another 3 people thrown in the mix. And then you've got your record label that are sort of plugging away, and we've got a promotions company, and all these kind of people that have kind of contributed to the story really.
A lot of people with their shoulder on our wheel, isn't there? I think.
For sure.
And so what's your general process then for creating the beats and the music? Like who does what, or do you guys switch off duties?
It all kind of starts with Roy really. He's got the patience to kind of sit there with samples and stuff and keep looping stuff, and he'll probably at some stage send it to me and say, is this any good, or have I just totally wasted my time? And I'll say, no, that's cool, that's really cool, keep working on it. And then it will probably get to the stage where it either just needs mixing, or we kind of need to get vocals in it and call in maybe Andy Cooper, our lead rapper, to do some work on it. He might write a rap or a lyric for it, record some raps, and then kind of comes back to me to mix it all together, and Roy will probably sit on that. Very fine as well.
And before that, there has to be a spark, an imaginative spark, like a little, I have to go down a rabbit hole, I have to be obsessed with something or a style, or hear someone's tune that's made everything I've ever done sound terrible, or that sounds like a great idea, or hear a tune out on the radio, or find one while digging. And then to get to the next stage, to then work it with loops, it's gone through quite a process of intense scrutiny, and it can be soul destroying, but sometimes it comes out breezy, and sometimes it's you don't know what's going on because you stared at the screen for 5 days in your pants. It's quite the image.
It is an image.
Images again.
So I want to break down, actually, as a fan and a listener, one of my favorite tracks by you that I played on my radio show Deeper Grooves on 88.5 in Southern California was a track that you used the sample of Ike and Tina Turner Feel Good called Every Trick in the Book. And I wanted to know, how did you come up about that idea for the track? And how did you source the samples and the other inspirations? Because I hear other things in there as well, other elements.
It came from a time when I just interviewed, I interviewed Fatboy Slim, and he was talking about the process of searching for samples and how that set him off. I'm just thinking about making tunes that weren't based on a vocalist you'd get in, but taking a strong vocal hook from a record, and seeing that the Tina Turner one was out there, and Ike Turner Feels Good. It was just getting to the process of digging into records and extracting vocals where there wasn't normally clean vocals. So a process of EQing and different online processes. So that began life as that, like just a funky loop with a Latin freestyle beat underneath, and melded the two together. So once you've got those 8 bars going around, you're like, well, that's the meat of it. Then it was about deconstructing.
Yeah, didn't you play that to Andy? That sample? And that was kind of actually you guys that kicked that one off, wasn't it? He
came in and he suggested moving some of the vocals around to get a different swing, because as a lyricist, his on-beat style is crazy good. And then thinking of the big beat era, and they have breakdowns that are ridiculous, and they build up again, taking something that's quite a mellow tune, but trying to generate as much energy as possible out of it. So strip it all back down, build it all back up. There's about 70 layers of synth. There's live horns on there.
Live horns on it as well, yeah.
Andy even does some scratching. He's nice on the turntables too. Yeah. And that one, we want to make like a real good chugger that had all the tricks, dance floor tricks in it as well, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I love the breakdown, love the echoes that you hear, and the baby, 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 and then the horns coming in with those blasts and stabs, building up to the last part. So yeah, super excited, and definitely gonna play some more of you guys next month, celebrating Jalapeno and the whole team for sure. Now, you have worked with so many different artists, as you mentioned here, and I want to get this right. So Hype Man Sage, Blue Rum 13, Ugly Ducklings, Andy Cooper, and a laundry list of other people. So how is it finding these other collaborators and vibing on them and bringing them to the studio and creating new music?
Yeah, well, it always brings something new to the table, and everyone we've worked with so far has just been great to work with, some more than others. Some kind of people seem to go the extra mile in terms of like what they end up supplying to you. People like Andy have just, he's literally become one of the third members. He is, we call him the third Allergy because he's so knee deep in what we're doing. Also, Dynamite MC's just become kind of integral to the group on the last couple of albums. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he's a UK MC. He went around with Ronnie Size and Represent, and is still kind of a big drum and bass guy, but he brings loads of flavor to the table, loads of energy, loads of enthusiasm. So whenever we find someone like that, we just want to stick with them and keep working with them, really. It's all about finding people that just give it that extra 10% at the end of the day. And yeah.
And I forgot to ask, in your origin story, how did you come up with the name The Allergies, and how did you come up with your pseudonym names as well?
What, Money Shot? Yeah.
It's rude.
It is rude, yeah.
A little bit. Just a little.
Yeah. Because if I don't get paid, I'll bust a cap in your ass. The whitest saying ever. Money Shot, yeah, that's lost the Mr. Times, unfortunately, or perhaps fortunately for your listeners. I don't want to have to mime it out, but don't Google the term either. But you needed something funky and punchy to go on the mixtape, because I was a mixtape DJ for a long time. And, my friends called DJ Chiba, this DJ Yoda, things are sillier and sillier. And that was that era. And the Allergies, again, we forgot where that come from. We should go through some emails. It's probably an origin story, because I do remember writing a list of potential names. But it's like baby names, isn't it? I think there's no great
backstory there, I'm afraid, with the Allergies. The only tagline is that we're allergic to the whackness.
True story.
Okay. I thought it was something like sneezing and that influence on everybody or something.
No, maybe there's also like the dusty digging, the dusty fingers, isn't it? So you're trawling through the record crates and all that dead hair and skin of the pasty staff who work there getting up in your lungs. So maybe there's a bit of that as well.
For some reason it kind of works.
Yeah, it's not to be sniffed at.
And so when you were growing up, how is the crate digging there? I know in the US we have a lot, especially in Los Angeles, a lot of used stores. Amoeba, that's one of the biggest here.
Yeah. I'd love to go there. Have they got like all 45s upstairs for like $1?
Yes, they have a bunch.
Yeah, I watched some of the videos where they interview people who are in the store just going through the racks. It's like, what's in your bag? Love to do that.
Yeah. DJ Peanut Butter Wolf has done them, and Questlove has come and done them, and a bunch of people. But so, how's the crate digging over in Bristol? Is it hard to find some things, or easy to find some things?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of turned online these days. The reality is, it's easier to find stuff because you can buy it from anywhere in the world, can't you, on Discogs or something? So that's, and obviously with the pandemic, the last couple of years, not really touring and not going to those record stores when we'd be in the local town, which is something that we used to enjoy doing. We've just not had a chance to do that. So it has been even more so online lately. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back out there and, hitting some of those spots soon, hopefully. Yeah.
And if anyone does come to Bristol, have a nice pint of cider and a wander around the streets, you can go to Wanted Records in St. Nick's Market, run by the man with impeccable taste, John Stapleton, who put together all the, what are those compilations called? Blow Pop, big beat stuff anyway from the early 2000s. And then Friendly Records, which is up in Bedminster. Good friends with Boca 45. And then, of course, Longwell Records in Keynsham. A good friend of ours in... Just double check out his real name.
Yeah, so we've got some good local stores here in Bristol, and there's plenty of that, but the prices are crazy, man, for people just check on Discogs now and yank up another few pounds. Yeah, not quite the same as some of these stores you're talking about, I think.
Sure.
I mean, gone are the days probably of getting things for pennies, especially in 45s, because that is an entire industry that it knows its value and beyond. It's silly money, isn't it, when things are just coming out and then they're being flipped for 3 times the price a week later because you've missed out on the small run of $200. So you're just constantly plagued by your alerts going off for places like Juno Records saying this. Now they're doing pre-orders, so you're buying it before it's even released. It's crazy. So, but I get all my Christmas money and birthday money in Juno vouchers. So I know I've got a little stack of like 80 quid up there ready to go out. So I can immediately just buy anything that comes in. Yeah, that's been a fever. It's been a fever for us recently. I come up through vinyl and then swapped to Serato when the club DJing and international touring started coming in. So there was no need to take the vinyl. You weren't one of those people that lost a crate of records on the way to Russia because you just had your laptop with you on your back. And then there was no need to buy records, and then got heavily back into 45s. And now it's become an obsession for both of us, I think, because we contribute to it as well. You're putting stuff back into that big pile of dreams and taking out what you need as well.
Of course. So then before you guys met, when you started DJing, what's the origin of your DJing? How long have you been DJs, and was that from youth, and how did you get started?
Yeah, just for me, I started when I was sort of 16, 17, and I ended up actually going to a DJ school and sort of actually doing a proper qualification in DJing, which was kind of one of the first courses there were, which is pretty cool because I got taught by some really good hip hop DJs and stuff. And then I went on to do a music production course that was more focused around making music, got a degree in that. All the time I was sort of starting to DJ in clubs and stuff, and then made the move to Bristol, where it kind of took off a lot more, really, and started DJing festivals. That's where I met Roy.
Hello. And I started about 94, 95, bedroom DJ, and then 96 went to Cardiff University in Wales, hooked up with a collective called the Cake Mix Cartel. I was the resident hip-hop scratch DJ for them, and there would be garage MCs and DJs. A young High Contrast used to MC for us, a drum bass legend that he is now. We put nights on at the university, poorly attended, but a lot of energy. And then off the back of that, I started becoming obsessed with mixtapes, people like DJ Yoda, people like Andy Smith's Document, early Scratch Bastard, stuff like that. Would make mixtapes and send them off, cold cut Journeys by DJ, and then I sent a mix to Ninja Tune's Solid Steel Radio in 2003, and like one mix of the year. And I remember being in Greece, going to a dial-up internet cafe and trying to check through my emails to see if they'd received it. And he said, yes, we're going to play it this week. So my mind was blown that you could reach out via the internet with these mixtapes and make waves like that. So off the back of that, built up a reputation, and would go out DJing with people like Tuba and DJ Food, doing tributes to the Beastie Boys on 4 decks, on 6 decks with videos and stuff like that. So that was all prior or before the Allergies, So it's all coming flooding back.
It's good to take that walk down memory lane. And so you talked about all the people that you have collaborated with. Are there any new people or other people on your list, your dream wish list, that you would like to collaborate with or might be collaborating with in the future?
Yeah, we're just starting to try and think about that for this next album that we're kind of halfway through at the moment. But it's kind of worked out that there's just a lot of samples in there and a lot of voices already in the samples. So we're kind of not sure whether we're going to end up working with any extra collaborators on this, because there's such a strong presence of vocals on this record already just from the samples we found. So in some ways our heads aren't right there right now, but I think there is one, isn't there, tune that we're kind of we still really want to work with Charlie Tuner. Seems like an obvious fit for the Allergies. Would love to work with some of the big UK guys at the moment, like Loyal Kana, but maybe he's a little far out of reach. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not
campaign starts
all the classic amazing people that we aspire to be, like Q-Tip and Rakim and all those guys, but I don't think they're going to pick up the phone.
Did we ever lead with Rakim and then it fell through or something? You shout into the ether and you send out emails and you never know what might happen. All the people we've worked with in the past have just been simply from asking them. Didn't know them before. That's what it takes, really. And they've all been wonderful. Yeah, but like you said, the new album is when we looking at the potential track list going, well, there's no guests, but then going, but all those hooks, it feels like there's already an extra 8 people on this album. So look forward to playing that for you.
Awesome. I look forward to hearing it too. And that is true. I feel always the song and the vibe dictates. So if you feel it's good to go the way that it is, then it most likely is. You just go with your gut and that way. But at the same time, you never know. You spray and pray and put that information out there in the universe. You don't know who's going to come back. I mean,
sounds like a Money Shot mixtape title.
I hope so. Oh gosh, if I could help name something like that, that'd be amazing as a fan for sure.
Well, we did have a conversation with the label about someone quite big league, and the figure that came back, kind of mates rates, was in the tens of thousands, wasn't it? So it's like, so what you can do is work with someone on the way up, like your good self, and you share that journey and you put that same into it and you get the same out of it, rather than someone that might just give you a cast off verse if they're too big for you or whatever. So it could be a waste of money if you put all your eggs in that basket, because it's not great budgets for our albums, is it? So you don't want to give it all to one person you've never met who's got a semi-household name. So
yeah, and I think that would be the problem with it, is you would throw all your eggs in one basket, and if they didn't really put the effort in, in the same way that a up and coming guy or a smaller artist would do, then you're not actually going to get as good a record at the end of the day. So it's all about making good records, man.
Yeah,
for sure. So it sounds like you have no regrets. There's no looking back.
No, I don't think so. No.
No. Yeah, I think we've done all right. I mean,
yeah, pretty happy.
So you made 5 albums and singles over the last 6-7 years since 2015 with Jalapeno. Does any one stand out to you? Like, oh wow, that was the pinnacle of something we've done to this point, or do you love them all as your babies?
Yeah, I think I've got love for them all in different ways. Obviously, As We Do Our Thing being the first album that put us on the map, really, that will always kind of be special to me. The first 12-inch LP album we ever put out together. And watching songs off there kind of jump off in a way that we didn't realize would, like Rock with Andy, that was special, and I'll sort of always remember that feeling of that first time to happen, because it wasn't really expected, I don't think.
Yeah, that's when the momentum started, wasn't it? That's when the ball started rolling down the hill. And I mean, I'm trying to think what album's got the most quote unquote hits, or at least ones that got the most listens to. Say the Word's got Felony, which continues to do great numbers. The first album, As We Do a Thing, it's got God Walk Down and Rock on, which are kind of typify our sound. But then we stretched out a bit and got more live musicians in and matured ourselves as recording artists on the album Steal the Show. So it all represents different chapters of the life, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
So you said
the Christmas album will be next, I think. So.
I hope so. And happy Christmas to everyone. So you said you had the DJ set, and then you have also a live band, and that reminds me a lot of another UK artist that he used to be on Ubiquity, Quantic, who had the orchestra with Alice Russell and all those people. So what is obviously I understand having the live instruments just amplifies what you're doing, and you're taking a lot of samples from live things as well. But how do those kind of juxtapose?
Are you talking about, what's the live show like? Is that what you mean? What's it look like? Or you mean?
Like being DJs and working with records to also working with live musicians. How does that work?
Well, in the live show, it's still, it's still very much backed by me and Roy playing samples and playing, backing tracks of stuff we've made. So that is really at the core of it. And then we've got a saxophone player who's amazing, who kind of riffs over the top and does solos, a lead vocalist and a rapper, Andy and Marietta, big ups. So but it still feels like it's all samples in there, it's still, that's the core of what we do. And we've got to keep it that way, I think. Otherwise it might lose its edge and its appeal to, the kind of people that are into our sort of music. So we're always trying to keep that sound, even if we do end up recording an instrument for our album, we're throwing loads of distortion on it and trying to make it sound like it came from an old record anyway. So, yeah.
Excellent. So as we start to wrap up, I have a few rapid fire questions I ask all the guests on the show. And so the first one is, what's next musically for your group?
Well, this new album's going to have surf guitar, Afro-futuristic house, and low-slung heavy drum blues.
Yeah, so we're just doing our thing. We're just in the studio again, just working on the next thing. Really, we've got more gigs this year than I've had hot dinners. So we've got 42 shows booked in or something crazy. This seems like the year post pandemic that it's all gonna kick off. Really, hopefully all those bookings, people have been wanting to book us and come and see us. Hopefully it's gonna happen this year. So yeah, we're making music and we're looking to the next few months ahead and doing the live thing.
Awesome. What advice would you give a newbie starting out in music today?
Find someone you like, copy their style, twist it, turn it, put your own signature on it, remove their template, then do your own thing. Stand on the shoulders of giants, I think. It's a good tip and technique. A lot of people start out by imitating their favorite people until you get your own voice.
Yeah, and just learn to be everything, because you kind of have to be these days. You've got to be your own music manager, and you've got to be a social media guru, and you've got to know how to do a little bit of design. And especially if you're starting out yourself and you haven't got a record label involved, you need to be a big all-rounder. It's about making music, it's about DJing, it's about putting yourself out there, it's about managing yourself properly. Try and do it all.
Don't be whack.
Yeah, be dope, don't be whack, for sure.
Yeah.
And so I know it's too early in your career, but when it's all said and done, and hopefully this is years later, they've turned you into robots and you live on forever. What do you want your legacy to be musically?
They had a few good songs. R.I.P.
I don't know. I just hope people are still listening to our records when we're not here. I think that's all I really care about, and that's why we're trying to get those.
That is good enough music that in the old folks' home they can still play it without cringing. Yeah, that's what you want.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
Exactly.
And maybe one record does well enough to put your kids through college or whatever.
Exactly. The college record. The scholarship record. I got it.
That's going to be the Christmas one.
Yeah.
Hey, look at Mariah Carey. That's a big Christmas album. It can happen. So what should people listen to first in your discography if people are discovering you today for the first time? The Allergies.
In this order: Heartbreaker, Rock, God Walk Down, Say the Word, As We Do Our Thing, Felony, Every Trick in the Book, and what's on the new album?
5.
5.
Did you say 5 songs?
And Promised Land as well. The title track off the last album, which is there.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Pointing to an
something we're proud of, because making music exclusively with samples it's kind of tricky. You kind of left with what you've got, really. You can't just invent new ones. So finding one thing that works and then finding another 2 or 3 that magically go on top of it and form, a complete puzzle picture is a long, laborious process. So anytime we manage to strike gold like that and make 4 or 5 different things come together that have no business rubbing shoulders and making a brand new piece of music out of it, then we're very proud of that.
Same 8 for you, Adam?
Oh, it was 8, was it? Oh, 8 songs. Yeah, well, similar. Yeah, I definitely Heartbreaker, God Walk Down, Rock, because they're like, first 3. Okay, next one. Push On. That was off the next album when we were pushing things along. Fade Away with Andy Cooper, that's on Still the Show. Say the Word, I would say that one. Felony, it's got to be on there. And then let's go with Promised Land. It's good final one.
Say the Word. Steal the Show is a good one as well, because Andy wrote a rap that kind of paints the picture of Oz like Scooby-Doo in a van breaking into a radio station, a real storytelling Slick Rick type vibe. So, and he gets to drop our names in it and mention stuff about our lives. So it's nice to feel your character coming alive in a song, getting a shout out, anything on a liner note, getting a shout out in a tune. I mean, they're great things for any aspiring DJ, but to hear your name rapped out by Andy Cooper, snap to everyone.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. And so where can people find you online? Where do they go?
If you know how to use the internet, just type the Allergies. We're everywhere. Spotify, we're all over. Bandcamp. Bandcamp and Spotify, the 2 big ones we're pushing at the moment. So find us on there. Follow us.
I'm just going to type in the Allergies now to see if something comes up about.
Someone will be trying to sell you some medicine.
We're the top search. I thought it might be, various Ventolin manufacturers or something like that. But no, we've done all right. Yes. Our search engine optimization is through the roof.
Kudos to you. That's important. If you can't be found on Google, then
I don't want to type Money Shot in.
Definitely don't.
Definitely don't.
Or at least go into a private window if you're going to do that. So a special question for the both of you today. The question is: your place is on fire. You have a few seconds to grab a portable vinyl player and a handful of vinyls. What are you taking?
Well, I'm taking Dale DeFunco's Homo Sapiens sophomore album, No Need for Alarm. Absolute fantastic record coming out of that Oakland organized noise type world, following on the footsteps of his label mates, Casual. Yeah, definitely. It's a broad, wonderful, kaleidoscopic record. I'd take that one. Take Andy Smith's Document Mix album, because it features Jungle Brothers and Tom Jones on it. And then one more would be the London Funk All-Stars versus the Bionic Hookers from Mars. An absolutely fantastic record.
Bionic Hookers from Mars?
Yeah. Wow. It's a Ninja Tune classic, double album, maybe triple album. And it saw me through countless long-form DJ bar sets in the early 2000s. It had so many cool styles on it. A guy called DJ Jason, Mad Dr. X, is behind that. Fantastic. Recommend it. Go and find it. I think it might be on Spotify. Can't be sure.
I would take Toots and the Maytals' Funky Kingston, because that's my dad's favourite record, and he still bashes that every time I go around his house, and it's just was the foundation of music for me. So fond memories of that record. I'll go with Tribe Called Quest, Beats, Rhymes and Life album. I think that's the best Tribe album. It just is. That was like one that I sort of really got into hip hop when I was a teenager. So that tells a nice story. I'd take a few drum and bass records with me from my raving days. Maybe Midnight by Jenna G, the Mystical remix. That's really good. And I guess I'd grab one of our albums, the latest one. promised land.
Or maybe a double album, because you can then open it and use it to waft down the flames.
Yeah, maybe say the word to be better.
Yeah.
Maybe it started the flames. We don't know. That wasn't part of the premise.
So hot.
But super excited to talk to you as a fan and as a listener and just a respecter of producers and music. I love what you're doing, and we'll definitely keep in touch as you release more music and hopefully get to play some on the show. Obviously, Deeper Grooves on 88.5 FM. These are at-home interviews for the station, and super excited to have the Allergies on today. Adam and Roy, Money Shot, and Rack a Beat. We'll be looking forward to more of you and more of your label mates from Jalapeno Records on the show to come. We'll circle back to you when everything is all said and done, so you have links to everything, and we'll just keep the conversation going. Swap some music, share some more stories.
Man. Thank you.
Sharing is caring, buddy.
Hopefully we'll be out to the States next year and to do some shows and we can hook up.
For sure. Look me up. We'll be here.
Cool, man. Thanks for taking the time, man.
Take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Peace and out.
Peace.
Peace.
88.5 FM, KCSN, and KCSN HD1 Northridge, Los Angeles. KSBR and KSBR HD1 Mission Viejo. A service of California State University Northridge and Saddleback College. Member-supported public radio. Streaming on the web at 885fm.org.